So my dear friends, we have already concluded all major exemptions which are applicable to non-resident. Here we are going to touch upon some other minor exemptions which are there. I just don't want to leave it because I don't know from where the MCQs will be targeted. So given a choice, many of the faculties in India, they don't teach these exemptions or they don't discuss. See, teaching is a different point. At least once in life you should hear it, and then it is your choice whether you wanted to read it or not. My job is to at least tell you once that okay, this type of exemptions are there. These are other exemptions. All major exemptions are already done. So why to leave another discussion of 10-15 minutes, isn't it? So 10C1, 6C, royalty income or a fees for technical services under an agreement with the central government for providing services in or outside India for a project connected with the security of India. Security of India. So you are a Russian company, okay, a Russian company, and you are giving us some IPR, intellectual property rights, to develop some kind of arms, ammunition, missiles, satellite, whatever. That matter, your IPR, intellectual property right, is used by Ministry of Defense for making Indian government security very strong. Obviously, whenever the royalty is paid for any IPR by the government of India, according to section 9(1), it's an income accrued in India. But do you really want to tax a royalty which is paid for the national security? First thing is that there is the authority, there is the government who is sharing their defense mechanism with India, so that India should become one of the strongest nation in terms of defense. Yeah, and you want to tax that particular foreign country? So definitely answer is no. Therefore, if the question is of Indian security, the exemption has to be granted. So it is available to any foreign company notified by the government. It's not available to any random person. It has to be notified by the government. Another one, you might have seen the movie Uri, okay, or at least you have heard about the surgical strike conducted by government of India in some of the areas in Pakistan. Now, when inquiry was taken place, you know, our national security advisor, a very respected personality, we have very, great respect for him, Mr. Ajit Doval. A national security advisor was questioned that how are you sure, how can you be very much sure that that particular village or that particular area in Pakistan was having lot of terrorists there? And how do you, because the surgical strike was done at a particular moment, and there was a lot of conspiracy going on, whether it was right to do or whether it was wrong, whether it was ethical or unethical, is it a start of World War III? So many things were discussed. So now Ajit Doval has to give some kind of answers which are supported by evidences, isn't it? So there is an organization, maybe foreign country, who has given a technology to India. That technology, please understand, help us to find out active mobile connections in the particular village. So where surgical strike was conducted, that was a small village where at one particular place or in one house or in one building, more than 200 mobiles were active, which was completely unacceptable. It's a surprising fact. Not only that, they have the recordings, call recordings of those, some of those mobile which were identified in that particular area, and they are having the technology. In movie also they have shown, that they send a drone, a drone in bird form, it goes there and it records the video and everything. So that kind of technology. Who is responsible for bringing this technology in India? So National Technical Research Organization, NTRO, is the organization who had helped government of India for doing this kind of surgical strike. Obviously, any royalty income from or a fees from a technical services rendered in or outside India, the National Technical Research Organization, so foreign scientists or foreign organizations are giving their IPR to NTRO, a government entity in India, for developing this kind of devices. Obviously, we are very much grateful to you. We will not tax your royalty income. So non-corporate, non-resident or a foreign company is giving in NTRO, National Technical Research Organization of India, this foreign countries are giving or foreign institutions are giving their IPR, intellectual property right, whatever royalty they are earning from India, it is exempted under 10(6)(d). Okay. Next one. A foreign income and the remuneration received by individual from government of a foreign state in connection with any cooperative technical assistance program and project under agreement between central government and government of the foreign state. If government of India and foreign government, if they are doing any project in joint venture, and in that joint venture, the employees who are working from a foreign state, their salary should be exempt. Individual who is assigned to duties in India, though he is working in India, but he is working on the joint venture project of the two governments, government of India and foreign government. Obviously, we wanted to exempt this particular employee. 8A, foreign income or any remuneration or fee received by such person, agreement relating to his engagement must be approved by government out of the fund made available to the international organization like World Bank, like Monetary Fund, International Monetary Fund. So international organization, World Health Center for that matter, for COVID matter. So income of that particular person is also exempt. It is available to consultant, being an individual not being Indian citizen, or being an Indian citizen who is a not ordinary resident in India, any other person who is a non-resident. Okay. Next one. 8B. Foreign income and remuneration. Foreign income and remuneration received directly or indirectly by individual who is assigned to duties in India in connection with any technical assignment project in accordance with agreement entered by the central government and agency of the consultant referred in 8A. Okay. Now here it is not a directly employee of the joint venture or the government employee. The joint venture is having some consultant and there some employees are working. So indirect employees, you can say, even they are exempted here. Next one. Foreign income. Any family members of the individual who are referred in 8A and 8B in accompanying him to India. Okay. So if husband has come on the joint venture project of India and USA and wife has also come here, so not only husband but spouse is also exempted. Foreign income referred in 10(8)(a), 8B(9) above refers to the other income occurring or arising outside India. Such income would be exempted provided it is not deemed to be accrued in India, it's not Indian income, and individual is required to pay any tax or a social security tax on such income to the government of the foreign state. So that individual is liable to pay tax in their country because they are not paying tax in India. Next one. 10(15). Interest on deposits made by the foreign bank with a scheduled bank. Okay. Interest on deposits made by a foreign bank with a scheduled bank with approved RBI. Obviously, interest on a deposits made by the foreign bank is making investment in Indian bank and that is approved by RBI. We don't want to take tax on that. Bank incorporate outside India and authorized to perform central banking function in that country. So it's like in India we are having RBI, a foreign government will also have their RBI kind of, their central bank. Their foreign central banks are investing in India. There is nothing like it. So we are exempting their interest. Okay, you can invest in India, maybe to have a investment opportunity, maybe to park fund in such a country where they can earn little better interest, because if you observe the foreign interest, my dear friends, is very low, 1%, 0.5%, and some of the countries are even having negative interest rate. Negative interest rate means you keep the money with the bank and bank will take charges from you for taking your money. Okay. So interest payable by the scheduled bank on a deposits in a foreign currency. Interest payable by a scheduled bank on a deposits in foreign currency. So in India, the foreign currency has been deposited, where the acceptance of such deposit is duly approved by RBI. Obviously, whenever foreign currency deposits are going to happen like this, it has to be approved by RBI. Scheduled bank does not include cooperative bank and Indian scheduled bank. RBI approved banks are giving this interest to whom? To non-resident or individual or HO being a resident but not ordinary resident. Okay. It is given to the individual, any non-resident foreign company or individual HO being a resident but not ordinary resident. That means it can be NOR, either NR or NOR. Okay. Next. Interest on deposits on or after 10(5) in offshore banking units. Again, not that important. Interest is payable by the unit located in IFSC. This is important because this is the recent one. You have to remember this. As I told you, in India we are having now IFSC. Okay, international financial service centers. If you are giving loan, please understand, you are a foreigner, you are a non-resident who is giving loan to unit located in IFSC. There is some unit located in IFSC, then that unit will pay you interest. That interest is exempted here. Okay, interest payable by the unit located in IFSC in respect of money borrowed by it on or after 1st September 2019. This is available to non-resident. 1015A, next section, lease rental paid by Indian company. Lease rental paid by Indian company engaged in a business of operation of aircraft. Please understand, when government of India was not having this, the airline industry was not that much operative. In past, it was very difficult to run airline industry in India because we did not have the technology, we did not have aircraft. So that time government of India used to borrow planes from outside government on a lease basis, on a rental basis. So government of India, central government used to make payment of those lease rentals to foreigners, though the lease rentals were exempted between this period 1997 to 1999, and after again they amended the law after 2007 also it is exempted. I don't know whether it is that much relevant or not. It was there, so I have covered. Sir, it is available to whom? It is available to government of the foreign state or foreign enterprise, okay, who is a non-resident. 1023 triple B, income of European Economic Community derived in India from interest, dividend, capital gain from investment out of its fund under notified scheme by the government of India. We have discussed for Abu Dhabi and all. So here European Economic Community, if they invest in India and if they earn this dividend income, interest income from India, it is exempted. We are bringing investment by giving this kind of encouragements. We are trying to bring investments in India. 1023 BBC, income of a SARC fund for regional project set up in Colombo declaration. That is another some fund which is introduced in income tax now. 1048 is very important, my dear friend. From here onwards, 1048, 1048A, 1048B. These three funds are back to back, you need to remember. 1048 we had introduced long back. It's not that it is a recent one, but the next two sections are relevant now. You must know that India doesn't have enough petrol reserves and we always import petrols or crude oil from foreign governments, isn't it? And whenever we import the petrols, more than petrol cost, sometimes we pay them the foreign exchange fluctuation cost. So we are not only paying for the petrol or this crude oil, we are also paying for the fluctuation cost. When we imported the petrol that time, or when we imported the crude in India that time, $1 was equal to 60 rupees. But when we are making payment of that particular dollar, $1 has become 75 rupees. So 15 rupees per dollar extra we have to pay. That is the cost. So what we are encouraging now, we are encouraging to these suppliers, this Iran and all these Iraq countries, that please give the petrol to India. We will exempt your income if you are ready to accept billing in Indian rupee, so that at least government of India will be free from foreign exchange fluctuation. That's an intention. If you wanted to issue invoice in foreign currency, you can issue, but then your income may become taxable. If you want to have a definite exemption from India, then please understand, you have to do the billing in Indian rupees. Income received in India in Indian currency on account of sale of crude oil, and then this was open for all the products or any other product for that matter, regarding the services or the rendering the services as may be notified by the central government. In this behalf, a foreign company and the agreement should be notified by the central government. This is another condition. Please understand, available to foreign company on account of sale of crude oil or any other goods or rendering any other services, and it should not be engaged in any other activity in India. They should only sell crude oil or notified goods and notified services. Okay, so this is very important. Here Indian currency word you should remember. Next one, 1048. If you might have heard about this, USA, like India, USA also did not have any oil reserves in their country. So they have created reserve. They have allocated the land, and now US is one of the exporter of oil, crude oil, my dear friends. Similarly, China has also done the same. Similarly, Japan has also done the same. Even Pakistan is doing the same in association with China. So what government of India thought, we don't have enough money to have our own crude oil reserves in India. So we are, asking global players to enter into India. We will allow you the land. We will give you the land free of cost, concessional rate. You don't have to be worried about land. You just have to develop a petrol reserve or crude oil reserves in India. Now you can understand, if you are a non-resident and if you develop the reserve in India and then you start supplying petroleum crude to Indian companies, obviously you are earning income in India, or your permanent establishment is located in India, and now you may become taxable in India. But we don't want to give you that kind of tax burden. So we thought, out of whatever supply of crude oil you are going to do here from this reserve created by you, there is no tax. Okay, no tax. Please understand. Income accruing or arising on account of storage of crude oil in a facility in India. You should develop this facility. We will give you the land, you develop the facility. And sale of crude oil therefrom to any person resident in India. A foreign company and agreement should be notified by the central government in the national interest. Definitely it is done in national interest. A foreign company on account of storage of crude oil facility in India. So this is this particular exemption you have understood. Then this foreign companies, what they said, this particular agreement is for limited purpose. Okay, it is not unlimited purpose. This agreement will be for 10 years, whatever period will be there in the agreement. Toward the end of the agreement, this particular facility, this company have to hand it over to the government of India. While handing over this facility, there will be still some unfinished crude oil available in India. Now the agreement is getting terminated. That time government of India may take tax. So we said no. When you are going to transfer this after completion of the contract or commitment period, that time also it will be exempted. Apart from that, one more responsibility and condition here, you should remember, whenever the reserve goes down, within a period of 3 years, you should replenish it. So you have to keep adding the reserve, crude oil in that particular reserve. India should have its own crude oil reserves now to get escape from this continuous price fluctuation in petroleum prices. Income from sale of leftover stock. Leftover stock means when the contract is getting terminated, that time leftover stock of a crude oil from a facility in India after the expiry of the agreement or arrangement referred under section 1048A, or a termination of said agreement or arrangement in accordance with the terms mentioned therein, as the case may be, subject to the condition as notified by the government. This is available to foreign company from the sale of leftover stock of crude oil in the facility in India. So all the major conditions we have discussed, all the exemptions are done. Please try to remember it if you can. Apart from this exemption, our main focus should be on taxability of non-resident and taxability of NRI. These two main concepts are left now. How do we take tax from NR and how do we take tax from non-resident Indians? To understand that, you must have understanding of exempt income. Okay, whatever is exempted we have discussed is very limited list. Whatever is left over now, everything will become taxable in their hand, and there are certain special rates of tax that we have to discuss from now onwards. Thank you.